I was poking around the internet about the Maine Law Enforcement Training Academy. Looky what I found. Maine Criminal Justice Academy. Application for training? James Freeman, looks like you got some splaining to do. Alrighty then, you've been popped by an incompetent police officer for failing to ID. Doesn't matter if you're a pedestrian on the sidewalk or passenger in a car, and you're going to court. What do? I've had other videos where I talk about strategy if you're falsely arrested for failing to ID. Only this one's going to be the absolute last because it's the best and most comprehensive. It's right out of Rise of the Oathbreakers Part 2, 30 steps. You heard me right, Super Bowl fans. A 30-step strategy. Start with question number 1 and just run all the way up to question number 30, right in that order. It's all laid out for you, and that officer will be a lumpus. The full name of the deputy who falsely arrested you for failing to ID is I.B. Butts Jr. I.B. Butts Jr. So here we go, 30-point step-by-step guide to win in court. 1. Know the applicable case law, Terry v. Ohio, Brown v. Texas, inside and out. 2. Film the interaction. 3. Document everything Butts said from beginning to end. This is crucial to impeaching a sworn testimony during cross-examination. 4. Ask Butts if or when he graduated from the police academy. You're going to see how this flows now. Really, those first 3 are just procedural. But now we're going to get into the brass tacks. From here all the way to the end, we're going to systematically dismantle this moron. 5. Ask Butts if he received training on constitutional law, the Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution, search and seizure, or other topic or topics related to the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution while in attendance at the police academy. Again, this is going to start flowing really well. We're just hopping from lily pad to lily pad. Number 6, was he required to study the material in preparation for taking an examination relevant to the material at hand? Number 7, did he take said examination? Number 8, did he pass said examination? Number 9, was passing said examination a requirement to graduate from the police academy? Then he should know the law. Oh, the noose tightens. Number 10, on a scale from 1, not at all knowledgeable, to 10, extremely knowledgeable, how would he rate his knowledge of the Fourth Amendment as it applies to day-to-day policing? This is called teeing him up, where his lack of practical knowledge at present is brought to the fore. Moving right along. Number 11, what are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution called? This is now testing his Fourth Amendment knowledge, and as soon as he starts mucking up, which he will, that means you have just blown up what he thought was his solid Fourth Amendment foundation. Remember, you just asked him whether or not he's knowledgeable. 12. What 4 things are identified in the Fourth Amendment as being protected from unreasonable searches and seizures? Persons, houses, papers, and effects. 13. As a certified peace officer of this state, are you lawfully empowered to make traffic stops of motor vehicles that you deem to be in violation of law? Well, you know he's going to say yeah. Remember, he's being teed up. Number 14, do you, as a matter of course, make traffic stops of motor vehicles part of your duties as a peace officer of this state? He's going to say yes. Any officer who makes traffic stops has to know what a Carroll search is. And what's the next question? Follow-up? 15. What's a Carroll search? And there's the answer provided, probable cause search of a motor vehicle. Well, if he doesn't know what a Carroll search is, which he probably won't because cops are stupid. Number 16. What is the scope of a Carroll search? If he doesn't know this, he's done. If the item or object that initiated the search can fit, it can be searched, including locked containers in the trunk. You don't have to explain anything. Ask the question, and if he gets it wrong, answer it word for word. Okay, you're not the one who's testifying. This is cross. Number 17, tell the court, what items must an officer leave behind after serving a search warrant? You know what? This is also Law Enforcement 101, but they won't get it. A copy of the search warrant and the verified inventory, a list of items seized. Define reasonable suspicion as he remembers it from the police academy. Facts and circumstances. Facts and circumstances, not conjecture. Facts and circumstances that would lead a reasonable person to believe that a particular person had committed, is committing, or is about to commit a specific crime. Continuing, and you're almost to the point now where he is finished. But let's have some fun. Number 19. Are you familiar with the U.S. Supreme Court case called Terry v. Ohio? Please summarize for the court. 20. Are you familiar with the U.S. Supreme Court case called Brown v. Texas? Please summarize for the court. Question 21. Here we go. What do both cases require an officer to articulate before they can lawfully demand identification? Reasonable suspicion of a specific crime. Let's continue. 22. What specific crime did you suspect me of committing before you demanded my identification? And he doesn't get to make one up on the stand. 23. Does a person surrender their constitutional rights just by virtue of riding in a car? It's yes or no. Don't let him pontificate. It's yes or no. And the answer is no. 24. Now it's really specific. Did I surrender my Fourth Amendment rights just by virtue of riding in a car? It's yes or no. And of course, the answer is no. 25. You've already won your case, but just keep the pressure on. If you stopped a bus driver for speeding, is it your sworn testimony that you have the lawful authority to demand identification from each of the passengers under threat of arrest, no less, because he did that to you, without articulating reasonable suspicion of a specific crime? Of course not. 26. What law compels a passenger to identify themselves to law enforcement without articulating reasonable suspicion of a specific crime? He has to state it. He has to say it. And he has to identify it by its number. Number 27. How specifically did I obstruct you when, as a matter of fact, you had no lawful authority to demand my identification in the first place? 28. Isn't it true that the only reason you demanded my identification was to run me for warrants? And be very careful, deputy, because what other reason would you have demanded my ID when I was simply sitting innocently inside a car? 29. Do you still believe that you made the right decision by arresting me for not surrendering my identification, lacking reasonable suspicion of a crime? Yes or no? Number 30. This is directed to the judge. Motion to dismiss, Your Honor. You have to make a motion, guys. Lack of probable cause subject to the exclusionary rule, which is fruit of the poisonous tree. No crime, no ID. No ID, no obstruction. I rest my case, Your Honor. If I.B. Butts Jr. is as dumb as I make him out to be in the book, which is probably pretty much like the average cop, you destroyed them. They're done. And the DA, or that particular DA, will never bring another one of those bogus, you didn't ID, you're under arrest for obstruction, or whatever they're going to couch it behind. They'll never bring another one there. They shouldn't have in the first place. And it is definitely malicious prosecution. Guys, the number one way that cops screw citizens out of their rights is by going after their ID. We all know that. If there's one thing that every American citizen should know to end the tyranny of law enforcement, is that they don't have to ID lacking a crime. We need to get the word out there. We can win, guys. We can prevail.